Hey guys, can I tell you about an experience I just had while visiting my mom out in Victoria, which is kind of a mid-sized city. Across the street from her, she told me, was a brothel. I was not expecting that. This is a fairly nice area. It's close to downtown, but it's a nice area for sure. And I mean, it's a residential area. So I did not expect her to tell me that across the street from her house, where she has lived for over 20 years, is a brothel. I still kind of am surprised that that exists or is allowed to operate in Canada. It just seems so archaic to me. So I just want to tell you about what happened as a result. And I hope that this will be a reminder to all of you and to encourage you to be on the lookout for similar type things and potential human trafficking victims. So as soon as she told me that, we walked by several times and I did notice that it was really odd. All the windows are boarded up, and she said she's never seen anybody exit or go into that building. Mind you, her house is facing a different direction, so she's not looking at the front door. Anyways, we happened to go by one time and a man came out and didn't look around or anything like that, and then another man just walked up the sidewalk and quickly went in. So that kind of confirmed to me that that's probably what's happening in there. And my first thought is, what if there are victims of human trafficking in there? What if there is forced sexual exploitation? What if those people are being trapped, held against their will? What if there's children? So as soon as I got home, I called the National Human Trafficking Hotline, which we have in Canada, and there's one in the US as well. I encourage you to have it on your phone, saved to your contacts. I called them and I told them, I don't know what to do with this. This is what I saw. This is what I've been told. I know nothing. I don't know any details. I have no evidence. But if it's a brothel, there's a chance for enslavement. And so she said, unfortunately, because there is no proof of enslavement, it didn't qualify for the human trafficking line. They only deal with, if there was a sign on the window that said help, or if you saw somebody running out for help, or if you had a victim statement. But I'm like, how am I going to get that information? Even if that's the case, how would I access that information? That's like the job of the police. So anyways, she just encouraged me to call the police, the local police. Actually, she didn't encourage me. She couldn't tell me what to do, so I had to figure that out myself. So I called the Victoria Police and filed a report of suspicious behavior. And within an hour, I got a call back from a very just engaged constable, and she asked me all the questions, asked me what I saw, what I thought, if I saw anything suspicious beyond what I shared, and then she proceeded to tell me, well, I hate to tell you this, but it is a legal registered escort agency, allowed to operate. It is one house over from an elementary school. They are allowed to operate there if they don't operate in school hours. Well, I'm sure they don't honor that. And I'm sure that still just floors me. This is a major road, residential area on one side, but a big road going through, and then school on the other side. So anyway, she was really cool. I think she empathized with me, and I honestly think she wanted evidence from me. I think she hoped I had seen something to give her reason to go bang down the door. She seemed very, very empathetic to the issue of human trafficking. But she said, because it's legal, and as far as we know, there's no force, there's nothing that we as the police can do about it. She said the minute we hear of any forced enslavement or children involved, youth involved, then she said it's a game changer, and we would be there in a heartbeat. So I was happy to hear that, but I'm like, well, how do you know there's no force unless you go undercover and go in there? How do you know? Anyways, this just brings me to an interesting topic about choice. Both the human trafficking line and the police officer are talking about it's a escort agency, so the women are there that choose to be there. I just want to comment on this because you guys are going to hear this kind of dialogue a lot, and we hear it a lot too in the human trafficking world. Yes, they may technically choose to be there, but I just want to remind you, would you choose to be raped multiple times a day by strangers? Not only are they strange men, people you don't know, I can guarantee you it's violent. I can guarantee you it's not comfortable. I can guarantee you it's not soft, loving, gentle, mutual, caring. The men that go and purchase sex, I swear by this, I'm sure this research, probably are heavily addicted to pornography, because they go hand in hand. Pornography nowadays is violence. It's actually torture. Some studies say that what is online can no longer be even defined as sex. It is torture. And so men that seek out paid sex want to enact what they have seen on pornography, because it no longer becomes gratifying just to watch someone else doing it. They want to do it themselves. And what woman in their right mind would put up with that kind of humiliation and abuse? Nobody, unless they have no other choice. Nobody, unless they are somehow being paid to do it. And so I just want to say, nobody who has dignity, self-respect, value would ever choose sexual exploitation, even if it's paid or not paid. The ones who are there, I bet you, if I got to talk to them and hear their life story, I have no doubt there's a history of abuse going so far back that they can't even recall, that they actually never were taught that they could say no, never were taught how men are supposed to treat their bodies, never knew that their bodies weren't meant to be used, never knew they could protect themselves, say no, and have a right to protect their bodies. And so it's a choice, yes, but it's one that's been coerced and shaped and manipulated by life and circumstances over time. And so to me, they are victims. One day they will choose to get out, and they will get out with so much baggage and hurt. Most of the time, women get out of the sex trade, men too. Women and men get out of the sex trade because they have a disease, they're dying, or their addiction takes over. Because nobody can do that so-called work and not heavily rely on substances, because it is so degrading and so humiliating. So I just want you guys to remember, when you hear people say that they're there by choice, their choice has been heavily influenced by life. And also it's often due to a lack of other choices or the inability to make better choices. And it's sad that that's the only choice that they feel that they can do, or that they are good for or qualified for. So, so please keep that in mind. One more thing I want to say, sorry, it's getting long. The police officer said, nobody ever notices these buildings. She said, they're everywhere and people don't take notice. And I said, well, I like to know who my neighbors are, especially if the windows are all boarded up. Like, we should know our neighbors. So guys, be on the lookout. Know your neighbors. Get involved. Be aware. Because there are times when we've seen it on the news. Oh, somebody escapes a slavery situation and the neighbor's like, oh, I never knew. They were so nice. Be on the lookout. It's happening in North America. It's happening on our streets. And victims need us to be attentive. Okay, so that's my lesson for today. Let me know if you have any questions, but thanks you guys for being advocates and always being on the lookout.